This movie is called Cold Skin. The setting is 1914. The main character is an Englishman. We don't know his name. His name is just unknown person. The captain of the ship is very protective of him and takes him to an island. This remote island in the South Atlantic has a lighthouse, and he has come there to work for 1 year as a weather observer. After packing the Englishman's stuff in the cottage right by the beach, they go up to the lighthouse where they meet the other character, Gruner. The lighthouse has spikes all over it, like this guy is fighting off a freaking war of a horde. What is he fighting? What is he defending against? When they find him, he's disheveled. Oh, it's the guy from Vikings. And he's nakedified. Does not care that anybody is looking at him or what have you. The captain grills him as to where the meteorologist is, the guy that this Englishman's supposed to replace. But this guy marches to his own tune and just doesn't care about anyone. The captain of the ship has a very bad vibe about this dude, understandably, since this man also claimed that the meteorologist that this guy's supposed to replace is dead, but yet nobody knows of his remains. He claimed he died from typhus when he tried to get off the island, which is very freaking sus. The captain has a bad feeling about this and wants this guy to come with him, but when he refuses, he gives him a firearm, which he refuses too. Everything seems fine as he watches the ship, his last hope of being off this island should anything bad happen, sail off into the sunset. That's what they mean by sailing into the sunset, because ships would sail seemingly into the sunset. What? Oh my god, I just now put that together. At night, our friend is keeping himself busy. He's reading all sorts of literature, and then he finds the diary of the original meteorologist. Pretty strange stuff. This guy apparently thinks that reptiles and fish mated to make these weird people that are on this island. Our main character probably thinks this guy lost his nuts or is just trying to entertain himself with these stories. The next morning, he finds these strange circles all over the place with clams inside of them. What made these? Good grief. Ugh. Freaking dude is always naked, I swear to God. Anyways, our friend is watching that weird Viking guy from his cabin who's up on the lighthouse with all the sticks sticking out of it. And then he sees something peculiar right up there. What is that? Something? But when he looks back, he doesn't see it. Then later that night, he comes paw to paw with creatures that are trying to get inside his cabin. Whatever these things are, they get inside and he fights them off. He finds out it wasn't a dream the next morning. These things come out at night and he can see their footprints in the sand. Understandably feeling freaked out, he walks to the lighthouse and bangs down the door of Gruner, praying that he let him in. Gruner greets him with his piss and shit.
Why are you doing this?
When our guy asks to be let in, Gruner only replies by saying, "You should have stayed on the boat, bro." How helpful was that? Since the creatures come out at night, our main character finds a rifle with a bunch of ammunition and decides to take a stand. When the creatures come back, this time he's ready for them. Even though for some reason, when they're on the roof, he starts shooting through the roof. Like, isn't that gonna make it easier for them to freaking come inside? He sets the moat ablaze, which sends the creatures running back to the sea. He tries to put out the flames. Unfortunately, nothing is working. He didn't think this through. So with a skinny blanket, he crashes through the door and makes a run for it. There, he hides behind the rocks and waits for the burn to get doused by the rain. Thankfully, because of the rain, he didn't lose all of the cabin. The lighthouse guy, Gruner, basically sentenced him to death. So, he goes with his rifle to get even with this guy. When Gruner is out from the lighthouse to get water, main character, with his rifle, tries to get the jump on him, but he gets distracted. He goes inside a waterfall to wait, where he's attacked by something. He holds the creature at the end of the barrel and Gruner yells out for him to not shoot her. He's like, "Look, dude, it's fine, see?" He calls the creature over to his side. That way, he lets the main character know that this specific creature is not like the others.
I think I'll call you friend.
Oh, now you'll call me friend, because I was gonna bust a cap in your ass with your bitch, right? Maybe Gruner sees that this guy has some balls. Being able to not only last 2 nights here and to steady the cabin all by himself, but to have the balls to try and kill these things face to face and to try and take down Gruner. Gruner is a man's man. And he doesn't believe in wussies. This guy basically earned his keep. He invites him to stay in the lighthouse. They also have a truce where all the ammunition that was at the meteorologist's cabin is carried to the lighthouse. Friend is the main character's call now, wakes up to this thing licking his hand. Maybe because it has some healing properties. Gruner cuts the ammunition. And now being able to see the creatures up close, the main character is like, wow, these things are so amazing, so fascinating. While Gruner is disenchanted and he's like, yeah, she's freaking stupid, dude. She puts rocks on everything because she thinks they're all gonna float away.
This one doesn't bite, that's all.
What about that scar on your shoulder?
It was one time. The only time. She learned her lesson.
The way she whips her head back. She looks like a poor animal that's been abused. I mean, there's dominance where she looks away to not challenge him, but that's not what she's doing here. She's terrified of him. She's not even allowed to stand upright in his presence. While Friend is staying at the lighthouse, the female creature takes a liking to him. Uh-oh, the shape of water. She can actually be herself around him. He doesn't treat her like a thing. At night, Gruner sends out a flare. He employs this guy. Those noises that the sea female is making seems to be attracting the others. Friend is frightened as he sees the horde coming. Gruner tries to get him to shoot, but he's so terrified, he backs up. And as they're all attacking and Gruner's fighting them off by himself, Friend passes out. Gruner wakes him up unceremoniously and says that he will not have dead weight around here. He tells him to fetch water, and after Friend fetches the water, he goes back up and sees Gruner banging the sea creature. Something he never thought he'd see and is freaking awkward. This guy obviously doesn't want a friend getting too close to his pet plaything. That night, Gruner says, okay, you got one more chance to prove yourself. After he lets out the flare, he waits for Friend to be in the thick of battle and then locks him out there. Oh no! That will teach you. Gruner's like, I ain't helping you. You left me out there by myself. Now you stay out there by yourself. And I could totally understand that. When he wakes up the next morning, there's blood and guts everywhere. And lo and behold, Friend is okay. Looking a lot like Loki for some reason. Yo, that face though. They all go into routine of killing the things at night, fetching fresh water in the morning, and Friend, the main character, counts down the days. Friend has decided to call the sea creature Anaris. He is much gentler and kinder than Gruner is for sure. You can tell the difference because Anaris only wants to be close to Friend. But whenever Gruner gets up or moves, she's quick to hold her head down and move out the way in submission. She always wants to make herself small in comparison. On the beach, Friend finds a whale carcass, or more importantly, a whale skeleton that's been picked completely clean. He digs a bone out of the sand to use it to carve something later. In the mornings, he gets closer to Anaris. Now that he's around, Anaris is always following him. This makes Gruner very jealous. Clearly, he feels threatened by this guy. In the fresh water near to the beach, Friend sees Anaris swimming. He goes to pet her and shows that she wants to be petted.
Down.
My mind is just like, okay, so this guy, this is like his dog, but you're also fucking good, so you can't give it something to eat while you're eating? Gruner invites Friend to play chess. When Friend beats him, Gruner gets very upset. Turns out they forgot to set the light. It's been 3 weeks since these creatures have attacked, probably to gather their numbers. The horde is mighty, and when Gruner gets bitten, they take to the top of the tower, where apparently the creatures can't break the glass. They last till the morning, safe and sound. Soon as the sun comes up, the creatures are like, all right, time to go back to the sea. I always wonder why. It's possible because the sunlight is probably too harsh for their skin, but yet she is able to stay out in the sun. Maybe they gather that it's easier to attack at night because it's easier for them to camouflage with the rocks. Anaris licks wounds, which means that there must be some kind of healing solvent in her saliva. After Friend decides to leave, he looks back at Anaris, who looks sad, knowing that he's leaving her, knowing that as soon as he does, that guy is gonna start doing shit. The next morning, Friend sees a boat and tries to flare it down, and Gruner attacks him. He doesn't want any humans on the island, which is very unfortunate because our main character really wants to leave. Unfortunately for Gruner, him becoming very rough with our main character named Friend doesn't sit well with Anaris, who has taken a liking to him.
Find himself. Gruner rules the world. Gruner wants what he has, and has only what he wants. Drink from it, little face.
This was the first time we've seen Anaris rescue or stand up to Gruner. Well, at least the second time. The first time she did, he clearly took his belt and beat the shit out of her. But I think something has stirred up inside Anaris. Now, it's not just her being beaten down. Now her friend is being beaten down as well. It's different when she's the one getting hurt. When somebody else is hurting someone that she cares about, she will not sit idly by and let them hurt her friends. Something that she clearly has to battle with every day, since Gruner is killing hundreds of her kind. Unfortunately, the boat will not be coming. And all Friend can do is look longingly into the horizon, where the boat becomes one with the ocean. The next morning, Friend is sad. He had seen Daenerys run out very unhappy after hearing Gruner yell at her, possibly even beating her. When he finds her on the beach, she's all huddled up and sad. He presents the thing that he carved from the whalebone, a boat, and he shows it to her. He asks what Gruner did to her. She can see the longing look in his eyes, that he is sad that she's hurting. His face is a lot kinder and compassionate than Gruner. You're probably wondering why she didn't leave. Well, later Gruner tells Friend that he found her tangled up into a fishing net and saved her life when she was really little. Gruner is all she's ever known, and she feels as though she owes him her life. And when you've always been treated badly, you don't even realize that you could be treated any way else until somebody comes along and treats you differently. This is basically the turning point in Daenerys' life, having seen Friend treat her like a true friend, treat her with kindness, where she feels good being around him and not scared all the time. She never knew what good felt like until he came along. He sits there with her and cheers her up. Then she asks him to follow her in her own little way, and she leads him to a boat. Friend is happy to find this. She's like, see, that's the same thing as a boat. You can leave the island if you want to. Friend says there is a rowboat on the shore, and Gruner had known about it all this time. He wonders why Gruner didn't tell him, and Gruner simply says, well, good luck making it past the waves, and then you have to worry about hypothermia and getting cooked alive by the sun. Really isn't realistic where you're gonna go unless there's an active ship out there. Friend had told Gruner before that, have you ever considered that those things keep attacking because they're trying to help the female and they want to take her back? Gruner doesn't care about this, but he does tell him that the rowboat belonged to some Portuguese guy who used it to get to the island to escape a shipwreck, but was killed by the creatures. Friend wastes no time in chiding Gruner that he could have probably done something to help, but chose not to. Anyway, the important thing is that shipwreck had dynamite. The only dynamite that the Portuguese guy brought to the beach was waterlogged. It's possible, though, that there's other dynamite on the ship, and Friend decides that he wants to go and get it. But Gruner's like, nah, it'll be fine. While Friend is sealing the boat, he hears Daenerys swimming and wailing in the water. She seems to invite him in. He takes off his shirt and swims with her in the ocean, seeing her as his equal, actually engaging in an activity that she does to relax. Gruner probably would never do this with her. Unfortunately for both of them, Gruner is watching, very jealous. Then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I'll go with you to go dive for that freaking dynamite. You don't see anything suspicious about that? Yo, this guy's gonna kill you, my guy. Like this. When Friend dives down to get the dynamite, he finds the ship and told Gruner what the signs are for when he's hooked the load. He tugs to let Gruner know that it's secure. Gruner is happy to stay there as long as he can pull up the dynamite. While Friend is down there, he sees some sea creatures checking him out, and he ends up falling backwards. These diving suits are very heavy. He tugs at the line, telling Gruner to pull him up, to help him. Gruner has no intention of doing that. In the meantime, these creatures don't seem to want to attack Friend. Having only himself to rely on, he ejects himself from the suit, which is really cool that they at least have something like that. And in the storm of bubbles, as a distraction, he's able to swim to the surface, right as Gruner was about to leave him. When they get back to the lighthouse, unfortunately, a lot of the dynamite is waterlogged, but they find one box that is in perfect condition. They set it up all over the lighthouse and call out for the creatures, but they haven't been around in a while. Gruner is waiting with the dynamite in hand, which Friend unhinges. After a while, Gruner gets fed up waiting for these things, and he blames poor Daenerys after she brings starfish for them to eat, saying that they can't eat that shit, and that it's her fault that they're not coming, that she's the one who probably warned her friends.
We can't eat that garbage, Gruner. She told them. You told your friends, huh? You warned them, didn't you? Ha! You ungrateful bitch! How dare you leave me! Dare you leave me! Try it again!
Poor Daenerys. She's frightened and ends up crying. Friend feels really bad for her, and he sits with her for a while. They set up their plan, and Gruner forces her to cry out. She is so sad because she knows that this is going to mean that a lot of her friends are gonna die. The plan works. They intend to use the dynamite to blow up the creatures. Gruner tries to blow them up, but he forgot that Friend had disengaged the points, the contact points for the dynamite. Once again, Daenerys is subject to all of the horrors, feeling guilty and partially responsible for her people dying. Friend comes up, once again wraps around the contact points for the dynamite, and it sounds off. In the morning, he wakes up Gruner. Both of them have found that many of the sea creatures are dead. He kills whatever's remaining. Friend can see some old ones wearing jewelry around their neck, indicating that they're not just beasts. They're intelligent. They're people. And even if they weren't as intelligent as humans, Friend knows that what he and Gruner are doing is wrong. Taking his sweet time, not wanting to kill the poor creature, Gruner comes in and finishes the job. At night, they can hear Aneris calling. She's run away. Gruner tells him the story of how he found her in the net and claims that she'll come groveling back, but she doesn't. When Friend goes down to the beach the next morning, he sees little faces across the beach. They're little sea creatures, children. He has an idea and he makes one of their little circle things. He puts the boat in the middle. The next morning, he finds Gruner passed out and finds what his real name had been. Also that this guy had a wife and was happy at one point. Friend wipes away the dates, probably because he's made up his mind that he's probably not leaving this place. Either that or it doesn't matter. He goes back out to the gift site and sees that the boat is gone. They've taken the gift. Then he sees something wondrous. He puts down his torch as he sees a child. The child comes up to him, very curious. That's when he also sees Aneris. She's a lot more confident than before. She knows this child, and she's not alone. She brought her people with her. They're not attacking Friend, and she probably told them that this human is different, that he is her friend. She now stands royally, tall and confident. The young one shows him the boat that he had given him as a gift, and seems very pleased with the toy. Aneris stands watch as the others watch, probably part curious and also part amused, seeing that Aneris was right about this human, that it is possible for them to be friends. But unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, because this sweet moment is ruined by Gruner.
I see you, King of the Toads.
Don't harm them, Gruner. The truce is what I think they want.
Friend tells him that they want a truce. They don't want violence anymore. That they were wrong about them. Gruner is not listening though, and he orders Aneris to come back to his side, to go inside the lighthouse. She refuses, sticking her chest out and holding her head high. Enough is enough. She has seen the other side, and she realized that even though he saved her life, she cannot continue to be treated this way, and to have Gruner continually kill her people. This makes Gruner mad. He claims that nobody leaves him, seeming as though he's protecting from something that has happened to him before. He goes back up to the lighthouse. Nobody goes after him, and all they care about is communing with Friend. The little kid follows behind him, curious and fascinated by this human. Friend smiles at him and the others as they all turn as he goes to follow them. Part made me so freaking angry. Oh my god. Like, say what you want, but how can you kill a young child? Like, my god. Aneris is outraged, and she looks to Friend as though asking him to help them. He asks her, please don't leave. Reluctantly, she leaves. Not having anything against Friend, but knowing that they can never be safe as long as Gruner is on the island. Friend goes up to the lighthouse, and he fights Gruner. He stabs him in the leg, and when Gruner gets the upper hand, he calls Gruner by his real name, something Gruner probably hasn't heard in a long time. Friend tells him that you are not a murderer, and it's as if Gruner has slightly, for that moment, found himself again. All he utters is love. Love. You can see the pain in Gruner's eyes. Maybe he had lost his wife. Maybe his wife had left him. Who knows? As the captain, who carried the Englishman there, had said to him, everyone comes out to sea or goes to this island because they're running from something. So it's possible that Gruner had also come out to this remote island because he was running from something as well. Gruner opens the door to the lighthouse to go outside to the creatures and sees them all standing there waiting for him. He looks up to the night sky one last time, closes his eyes, and walks into the creatures so they can tear him apart. All they wanted was justice. Friend closes back the door as the creatures swarm Gruner, but they don't come after Friend. Some time goes by, and the replacements are here to relieve Friend, whose name we still don't know. He gets up the shovel in the same manner that he had found Gruner, the original Gruner. Now he takes on the identity of Gruner. But that's it. The Englishman who was there said they were at war, and they need the weatherman, who Friend, who's now Gruner, claimed typhus got him. In the closing scene, we see Aneris looking concerned, seeing the ships coming to the island. She then leaps into the sea and swims away. I don't know what the ending means. I don't know if she swam away because she'd been there with Friend the whole time. She actually wanted to be with him, or I don't know. I was expecting to see a little bit more interaction between her and him, but that never came, and I just felt a little bit cheated the end of the movie. But it was a decent movie. I didn't think I would like it, but I really did like it. Very steady paced, very upsetting at times and aggravating, but I like learning about the creatures and Daenerys. And I only wish we got more of her and more of the creatures. I wanted to see how the creatures truly interacted with Friend after Gruner had died. But oh well, kind of Shape of Water-ish, this kind of story, but it wasn't horribly done. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.